Pull up. Can't even see no more. Somebody put a will up. Surround myself with loved ones. Later for them haters. And now I'm growing up, y'all. On the escalator.
Y'all may think I'm acting brand new.
Hello, this is Roy Gillis, Centex Sports, and we are here live tonight at McPeople's Stadium, where the China Spring Cougars are going to be facing up with the Connally Cadets. This is not actually a rivalry per se. However, I think it's building into a rivalry. I think it's building into that. Connally coming off of the defeat on last week to Glen Rose, a team that I believe really is going to win that division. They have a D1 quarterback. They have some great athletes out there, and they got off to a great start against Connally. Last week, Connally kind of started off pretty slow, They made a comeback, but they just really kind of ran out of gas there in the fourth quarter. But we're looking for tonight to be a turnaround. Got a chance to talk to Coach Anderson earlier this week, and he has really assured me that these guys are ready. And during the halftime show, we'll play some of that interview that we had with Coach Anderson. But we're looking forward tonight for Connally to bounce back against China Springs. Now, China Spring is a team that is coming off of a victory last week. I think they won last week 13-10. I got some stat guys over here. They'll tell me if I'm wrong. But they were able to fight out a victory on last week, 13-10. And I know, if I know anything about the Bell family, they're going to have China Spring ready to play. And so tonight, Connally's got to be ready. They've got to be ready. We've got some key players on the Connally sideline. And later on in the show, if the weather holds, we know that this week is not a weather week, but we've got some bad weather all over the country. And if we can get the weather to hold, we're going to try to kick off or continue this pregame show throughout. But Connally has some key players. Connally this season, they won first week against Palestine, really kind of grinded it out there against Palestine in that fourth quarter. But this week, we're really expecting them to show a whole different side of Connally, They've got some key players that I think you have to point out. One is number 2, Corey Black. He's a junior. And Javion Sunday, running back, number 44. 2 key players. And also I have to point out Gaither, the young kid. I believe he's a sophomore, Gaither. So they've got some great players. The Pullen kid, they've got some great players here on the Connally sideline. The key is, can they put it all together 4 quarters against a team like China Spring? One thing about the characteristic of the China Spring team, China Spring does not turn the ball over, and they do not beat themselves. So one of the keys for Connally is ball control. Ball control is going to be key in them being able to pull out the victory. And we hope to get Coach Anderson tonight on the interview. So just stick around, hang with us here on Facebook. We will be recording and streaming the game tonight. Now, of course, in Texas, UIL prohibits us from live streaming on Friday night football. However, we will be restreaming the game on tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, and then we'll probably stream it again later on that afternoon. So we'll restream it 9 o'clock. So before you get your college football action going at 11:30, you can pick up this game in its entirety. We'll probably pick back up at halftime to kind of talk about, I've got some guests that are going to stop in the booth with me at halftime. So if you're watching, you can see us here on Facebook. Go to our website at Centex Sports TV. You can check it out there, Centex Sports TV. You can also check us out on Instagram at Centex Sports Network, or is it at Centex Sports TV? Or, okay, on Instagram, I'm being told it's at Centex Sports TV. Twitter at Centex Sports Network. So you can find us on all of those. I've got Coach Anderson making his way over here now. Coach,
how are y'all?
How you doing? Come on in and have a seat with us. I'm going to pass the mic over to Coach Anderson. Coach, well, here we are. The weather's looking like it might hold up for us a little bit. But here we are against the China Spring, the storied China Spring team. You're coming out with Connolly rebuilt, reloaded. Y'all looking like you're ready to do something. Tell us about what your plan is for tonight.
Well, we just want to come out and execute. That's our main thing that we've been talking about this week. And, we took a look at the weather before we came out for pregame, and it looks like for the first half, I think we're going to stay dry. Second half could get wet. And so, we got a game plan according to that. And, we're going to come out and try to play 4 quarters of football to the best of our ability.
Tell me about those 4 words, Coach, those 4 words. You had four team goals. I'm sorry, it was 4 team goals. Our
4 team goals, they've been the same since we got here in 2015. And, the first goal we have is making the playoffs. 4 teams go to the playoffs, and we want to make sure we're one of those 4 teams at the end of the year. Second team goes win a district championship. And, they only give out one of those district championships. So that's a pretty special deal. And we haven't been able to win one of those since we've been here. We have been in the playoffs, but, we want to win a district championship. Third goal is to practice on Thanksgiving. If you practice on Thanksgiving, that means that you have made a run in the playoffs, and it's a special time for the kids, for the coaches, for this community. If you can practice on Thanksgiving, and then our final goal would be to play in December. Anybody that's playing in December, those are teams that people are going to remember.
Yeah. Well, you are from Connolly. You went to school here. What's the contrast between then and now?
I don't know that there's a lot of contrast. Probably the biggest thing, the biggest difference that I see is just the age of the people living in the district. And the people moving from the Waco area out this way. Some of these neighborhoods that I grew up riding my bicycle in, that people owned and lived there, are rental properties. And so, it creates a transit environment, back and forth environment. But, I think we've done a great job with our kids of really getting our kids to buy in and want to be here. And so we haven't had to worry about that a whole lot with our football players. But, it's a great place to be. Our administration's unbelievable.
Yes.
Our administration, they let us do our job, and I can't speak highly, enough about our principals at the high school and what they do for our coaches and what they do for our staff, and then just everything from the superintendent down is just top of the line family environment, and it's a great place to be.
Now you had a great summer and a lot of participation. How'd you get those kids to participate like they did, just with training and
we've had good summers since we've been here. It's something we put a lot of emphasis on, and we talk about how important it is for our kids to be here in the summer, not just to get bigger and faster and stronger, but to be here together and to know what each other is doing. And we talk to them about burning the candle at both ends. And, we want you to be a kid. We want you to have a summer. We want you to go on vacation. But at the same time, you got 24 workouts in the summer, and our goal is to have every kid at 20 out of the 24 workouts. So the incentive we gave them this year is if you made 20 out of those 24 workouts, that we'd put your name on the back of your jersey. And so that's how that came about. And, every kid that we're suiting out on the varsity made 20 out of 24 workouts. And so, it's a pretty special deal.
That's awesome. Now, how do they bounce back from last week? We ran into a few roadblocks last week. How do we bounce back for this week?
I think the biggest deal is just understanding that we are a good football team, and that the team that Glen Rose that beat us last week is a very, very good football team, and I look for them to make a deep run and to be playing on Thanksgiving and playing in December. And I wouldn't be surprised if Glen Rose doesn't win Region 1. And they're a really good football team, and we had our chances. I mean, if you go back and watch the film, it's 1 or 2 plays here and there, and that's the difference in the game. The thing I was most proud of is being down 29-7 at halftime. Our kids fight. There was no quit in them. And I told them Monday morning, I said, guys, if if I know there's no quit, then we can win a lot of football games. And so, we're just going to build on that and try to execute better than we did last week.
And that's one of your words, execute. I know you told me before.
Execute is our word of the week, and we try to have a word a week every week and try to do things that are going to make us a better football team. And not only a better football team, but a better person. And we want these guys to be successful in life. And so, execute's a word you can use in life. And if you don't get up and you don't put your feet on the floor every morning and you don't go to work and do your job and execute well, you're not going to be employed very long. And then when you're not employed, it's hard to be a good dad and a good husband.
That's right.
And so, we spend a lot of time trying to tie those words of the week into not only our game plan for the week, but into real life situations.
You've got two players. One, I think y'all call him JoJo, and another one, your running back. I think really have a good, almost like a heartbeat of the team. Tell me about the JoJo.
JoJo Crosby's a 3-year letterman. He's a senior this year. He was a freshman my first year here. Mm-hmm. He's been a part of our program since we've been here, and like I said, he's been a 3-year letterman on the varsity football team, a 2-year starter. And he's kind of our field general on defense, and he plays our Mike linebacker, which is our middle linebacker in our 4-3, and he makes our strength calls and he gets us lined up and he makes sure we're ready to go defensively. And then our running back Javion Sunday is a junior, and Javion has come out of the gates and had 2 unbelievable weeks. Yeah. He's rushed for 579 yards in 2 weeks and 8 touchdowns. And so, he's on pace for an unbelievable season. We got to keep him healthy, and we got to continue to improve as an overall offensive unit. And if we do that, he'll have a big year. Javion's a junior. Like I said, he played on the varsity as a sophomore last year, limited time, but he understands the game, and very, very intelligent kid.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to this matchup tonight. I think people are going to get here, even though the weather's looking a little funny right now. Everybody wants to see what happens on this field tonight. We want to thank you for coming by.
Well, I sure appreciate you guys and what y'all do for our kids.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Coach Anderson giving us a little insight as to what to kind of expect. I didn't know that the Sunday kid had quite that many yards. But however, he's done a great job. And we've got somebody else here that I want to bring in. Y'all go ahead and take this. I'm going to see if we can get the superintendent of Conley ISD to come over here and sit in with us. We're going to get the superintendent to come in. Superintendent Westholt, hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
Got the superintendent, the one that's kind of responsible for all of this stuff going on out here. Superintendent, tell us about this turnaround that Conley football seems to have had.
Well, it started with our head coach coming in, Shane Anderson. He's really turned our program around. He's teaching the young men how to be young men, be responsible in the classroom, be responsible at home, take responsibility for what they're doing. And it's really helped. They're spending a lot of time out in the community, doing things for the community, and that generates responsibility, buy-in, and that's what we wanted.
Well, now, he is a superintendent now, but he also used to be one of the coaches here. And so how is it sitting on the sideline, not being able to get out there and get your hands in the game like you feel like it?
I'm chomping at the bit, but I understand that's his job. I understand what it's like to be a coach, but I love it. I love to watch our kids compete, watch our kids perform, but I do miss it. I do. Yes, sir.
It keeps coming up how awesome the staff is here. And we're talking about football, but I keep hearing coaches talking about staff and the administration. How have you been able to put together the kind of teachers that buy into what you're doing here at Conley?
Well, I tell the teachers all the time, it's not what I do, it's what they do. They're the ones in the classrooms. They're the ones dealing with our kids every single day. What we try to go off of is we're going to give the kids what they need. No matter what it is, we're going to help a kid. And they seem to have bought in, and they want to do what's right for kids, and that's what it's all about. If we can help kids, that's what we're going to do.
Now, how long have you been actually superintendent? How long you been with Conley?
This is my 29th year with Conley. I've been superintendent, I believe I'm going on my 4th or 5th year. I was interim for 1 full year, so I believe this is my 4th full year as superintendent.
Now, we're here in a football program, but Conley is very unique in this Waco area because they have a lot of programs for kids that when they leave Connolly, they got some tangible skills. Tell us about, I know you partner with TSTC.
Yes, sir. We partner with TSTC, MCC. We have what we call an early college high school. That's where a student can go and learn a career or get their associate's degree. We also partner with Holt Caterpillar. We have several students that are interning with them. We have our criminal justice program, firefighting program, nursing program. So we're trying to give the kids an opportunity to pick a field, go with it, and if they want to further their education with it, that's great. If not, when they graduate from Connolly, they're ready to go.
And I think that's awesome. We're pushing education in all respects, 4 years, but how awesome is it to be able to graduate from high school and have college paper already behind you? What kind of successes have you seen so far with some of these kids?
Well, we have 2 or 3 students that have gotten jobs with Holt Caterpillar. We have 2 students that have graduated with their associate's degrees. One is going on to a 4-year university to continue his computer science. We had a young lady graduate from TSTC in automotive repair. Okay. One of the first ones to graduate.
A young lady?
Yes, sir. A young lady. We have a matter of fact right now we have a son of a father and a father in a diesel mechanics program. So that type of thing. It's wow. Our kids have been very successful with it, and we want to keep it up. It's completely free to them.
That's awesome. Now, you're the superintendent, former coach. You're responsible for all that's going on here. How do you balance this? Because you're a father too. How do you balance this with home?
Well, since I've been in it 29 years, my family understands that this is my second family here. I'm all about Connolly. I'm going to spend as much time up here. My kids are products of Connolly ISD. My wife teaches here. She's an avid instructional coach here. So this is our family. We spend as much time up here as we can. We live right here in the community, but we balance it well. Now
we're in football now, but you got some other programs here. Basketball did well last year. You got some other two. Tell us about some of the other sports so people know that Connolly's not all football, but it's a lot of things going on here.
Yeah, so we have a volleyball program, girls volleyball. It's doing well. We have baseball. We have a track program that made it to state.
Really?
We have basketball, boys and girls basketball that went far. We have softball. We have, we started this year HOSA, which is the occupational safety and stuff like that. Their program, a trades program. So we've got several things going to help the kids.
I think that everybody watching, you need to consider Connolly because they got a lot of things going on and they got administration that's behind them. Mr. Holt, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and give us a little time. We're trying to make it. We're trying to pump up Connolly ISD and the Connolly Cadets. Thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you heard it from the superintendent. A lot of things happening here at Connolly, and so we're excited about it. I'm looking at the weather clouds, so I'm thinking we're gonna get some weather here pretty soon. So we're gonna cut the stream off and come back to you at halftime. Now, remember what I said. You can catch us Centex Sports TV. You can check us on the website. You can go to YouTube at Centex Sports TV. Tune in tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock to catch the rebroadcast of this game, and then tune in to us at halftime tonight. Again, this is Roy Gillis, Centex Sports TV, Centex Sports Network. Good to see you, and we'll see you here soon.
Always drive my shoe jeans, hard to make it stop. Pray for me. I'm something like a work in progress. Somebody already know.